So today's topic is the importance of skills management in team and organization building. And this presentation is targeted for future leads, founders, and studio builders. This is like my 2026 edition. I've been doing this for over 20 years in all kinds of occasions, and there is really a lot of material around this, and several bigger and smaller examples that I've been doing as an HR manager and then also as a consultant. And here's a short overview of myself. So my name is Arja Martikainen. You can easily find me at LinkedIn if we are not yet connected. But I've been working over 2 decades, maybe probably three decades in tech and creative industry companies. I'm a former long-time HR manager of Digital Chocolate Helsinki, and as you all may be aware of, Digital Chocolate was one of the biggest, or maybe it was the biggest gaming company of its time at some point, and many companies have done their spin-off since shutdown of Digital Chocolate Studio, including one small company of like Supercell. So all the founders of Supercell came from Digital Chocolate. Ilkka Paananen once said that DC was his MBA. I've been working as a recruiter and headhunter, helping various gaming and tech companies in Finland and beyond. In addition, I work as a mentor, coach, lecturer, sometimes HR advisor, and then I'm investing in games and high-tech growth companies. And I'm not just like tossing my money here and there, but I belong to a club called Sisu VC. So I have at least a direct link to that, and therefrom I can see also what is going on in the industry. This was some anonymous quote that I found, but I think it's quite good. Great games fail because teams fail, not because the idea wasn't good. And you always hear some experienced managers and directors and founders saying that they always try to look for the best people. I also say that it's not necessarily the best people, but the most matching team that makes a success in their careers and whatever they are doing. I have divided my presentation into 2 parts. There is the theory and then the practice. And before this presentation, I went through my materials and I decided that the part 2 is going to be very, very short. I will tell you a couple of real-life experiences and cases where I have been able to apply, and I know that where people and HRs are applying this model that I will be explaining to you today, and today I'm going to talk to you about a model that you can utilize. It's very easy and practical, easy to learn and very practical in use, and how to manage your teams through skills and competence management. And then there is also a bit about strategy, not much, and then something about early stage game teams. And obviously I've been living through times where I've been working in growth companies, in startups, seen a couple of failures, then also very nice successes, and then also like sunsets, how things ended up. But I have a tool that might be useful for you to understand. Usually the tool that I'm presenting to you, you would see it only in a bigger company, but it is very simple to utilize also in a smaller context, and I have a couple of good examples about it. But you as a manager, as a potential founder of a gaming company, you have quite a lot on your plate, and you and your role and whatever you have, what kind of tools you have in your toolbox, that is on a spotlight always. And everything starts from your own professional skills, how to lead your own work, how to cope with pressure, about your communication, cooperation skills, motivation, problem-solving skills, daily management skills, competence development skills. So not only like the professional skills, how good programmer you are, how good artist you are, or something like that. It doesn't necessarily make the future any brighter unless you learn some good methods to manage all this planning, staffing, recruiting, even some employment legislation about rewarding, change management, leadership, how to manage multicultural teams, especially in gaming, and not to mention innovation management and such, but I'm not basically going to that part here. But we will talk more about like operative HR and how to do things right and how to increase internal efficiency, and a bit about HR strategy and how to manage your team better. So you obviously have your strategy, how to manage your product, what to do next, what is your path, what do you see in your future, so you have your own thoughts about it. But then how you manage your people, your team, people around you. So that is very significant for the future success and for the well-being of the people. And this is like AI produced picture, what is HR strategy, but it is very tightly linked to the business strategy. And HR strategy, it's all about recruitment, all kinds of, there are these other components like recruitment, development, discussions, performance, competence and organization development, all kinds of admin tools, guideline processes, legal issues, HR, like employee guidebooks, all kinds of like guidelines, what you need to implement, legislative things that you need to put in place in order to manage a company in Finland. And it is also good to kind of like create a strategy around your company, so that like you know exactly, or you do not even need to know exactly, but like approximately what do you want to see from HR point of view happening in your company. And also like this comes to culture, that what kind of culture you want to create and so forth. So HR strategy is very much supporting all this. You do not necessarily have an HR person, but every operative manager should have some basic HR skills in place, or at least be interested in it, because people do the success and people create. I put some notes about early stage game teams and what you should be aware of. I understood that you are pretty much all doing your own game projects and knowing, for example, Kajaani people. So I know that there has been coming very good spin-offs. New companies have been built there, and then many of the students that study there, they go to found companies in the future. But if you are still on the first steps of your career as a founder, so here are some things that you should be aware of. There are also like some of my own observations, what I've been seeing happening. Nothing like juicy gossips, but of course, if you are interested, we can talk about those too later on. So let's start. What talent really means in an early stage game team? So of course, it's about skills and culture fit. And when you are thinking of your first hires to a team, so they are always, you should look at like people that are mission aligned, of course highly skilled, or at least good in what they are doing, and then also motivated in a way that they are ambitious enough that they target to higher skill levels. They need to be collaborative, able to adapt, and adaptive means also that they should be able to cope with all the changes and situations that come up eventually in a growth company or startup. Then a good culture ad, not a culture copy. There was back in the day in one Finnish tech company, this pretty much it became a scandal because they were kind of like announcing that we need another Mikko to our team, and it happened that they had been hiring several people that were called Mikko. No, well, there is nothing wrong with the name Mikko, but it kind of like raised the question that are you hiring only copies of each other? And this is good to be aware of, that you do not hire all the time people that are think and breathe and do exactly the same things as you do. So it's good to have people that may have like a little bit different types of ambitions or like different types of ideas, kind of like a diversity point. It is good to look at. And that in an early stage game team, talent isn't just someone who can do the work. It is someone who can help the team work better. So different types of personalities are good to put together. But of course, always remember they need to have enough skills, they need to be collaborative, and then they need to be target driven, understanding what you are about to do. Then a bit more about this, how to build your first real team, not just group of friends. Yes, of course, friends, that's a good starting point. But then if you have any chance to choose, so please choose complementary skills. Not because somebody feels familiar and you laugh with the person and get along really well, because it's not going to be necessarily a long road. Then what you should do is, and what I'm going to explain to you later, role clarity, mission alignment, and adaptability. Of course, the role clarity, that is important. And then it's good that you hire people who raise the bar, not just those you already know. What I can tell you about my early times, I started in gaming industry in 2004. And let's say that 70% of the people that wanted to join the team were just wannabes. So you basically need to target to that 30% of people that are ambitious enough, that have skills enough, and who raise the bar and go for the extra mile for the cause. And you need to think of the early hiring as a strategic investment, not a convenience. And then, like in the previous slide mentioned, they need to be able to execute, collaborate, and evolve through uncertainty. There is also a couple of other lines, but I'm not going to read them. And what I can say that if you choose your mates and collaborators wisely, it increases dramatically your odds of survival. It pleases also the potential investor at some point, so that you have been able to build a strong team, and then you are, of course, able to execute. And then this next one is about very early stage roles. So they overlap, of course, because in the beginning, your people, they are very multi-talented, very often, and these roles overlap because small teams need to stay flexible and fast. So many of you probably have multiple hats on. And of course, it is very good that there are not that many people around. So because you need to be minimal, efficient generalist, and you focus on vision, prototyping, and alignment in early stage. When your team gets bigger, then you get specialized, and then you start support scaling and reliability. And it may happen that the people that were there along during the first years or months, even, let's say the first year, they are no longer there. So they left, or they have been asked to leave. So that's what usually happens, and you shouldn't be afraid of seeing certain people leaving, because it usually happens for a purpose. We can talk about this if you feel like, but I've seen very famous people kind of like being in companies as a starter group, as a basic like co-founder group, and then they, to everybody's surprise, they left in a year's time. But then they were not the right persons to the team. So, all right, but why career/competence development? So now we get to the method part. This is all about getting a grip of your team through understanding the basics of competence development. So you need to understand what your team is made of what your people are made of, and also when things start coming up, when changes start to come, and there is always changes when you build your organization and when you go further. So then it is good to have some framework that you can use when you think which steps your team does in the future. And competence development, it has influence to all these surrounding points there. All your project planning and needs. So like what kind of, like you have a project, you need certain type of skill sets, you may need a new technology and so forth. That ends up to like recruitment. Who do we get to do, for example, this or this type of skill set or like job role? Or if you cannot find the person, is there something that you can do through training? And you usually, if there is a chance to like train yourself on the go in the organization, that is also a good sign for retention. So people get the feeling that they learn, and they can also bring something good to the organization. And then, of course, alongside their individual career develops. And then also competence development, it is influencing to the salary and benefits package in a way that the better people perform and the more valuable they are to the organization, So usually it shows in the salary and benefits package, but also you can get a grip of the money spending to this part, because there is no sense to pay to somebody who is just like shouting all the time that I need more money, I'm so valuable, but doesn't necessarily bring enough, put enough on the table, no skills or motivation, but you should just pay. And this type of method basically unveils, helps you to understand what people are made of, and is it reasonable to pay what they are asking. And then also there may be like these equality questions, equal pay, and so forth. But of course, like I've heard about a case where there is a startup, there is a company in Finland where everybody gets paid the same amount of money, but the difference comes through certain the number of hours, for example, they bill from the customers. So if you are a little bit on a relaxed phase, so you know that you get the basics, but then all the addition comes through your own performance and how many hours you are ready to make. So that was quite fair in that sense. All right, but as a founder or employer, some of your basic questions are: do we have enough resources to complete the projects? So, of course, you may have people with many hats that work long hours, but then at some point you need to start to think that, okay, what are we missing? What should we need more? And when you have those people there, you always think that, okay, is this work, is this input that the person brings on the table, is the price quality ratio correct? Then when you are building your organization, your to-dos and think-abouts, they are usually as follows, like from the budget side: how to avoid money traps in hiring and compensation, how to avoid like paying too much to someone who doesn't deliver, in other words, or how to avoid a situation that you do not pay enough to somebody who should be earning a bit more, for example, or get a bit bigger stake, or there are many ways of managing the compensation package. Of course, like sometimes there comes these options and similar company shares in question. And how do you prepare for future staffing changes before they become crisis? So then this helps to understand, for example, if you have like maybe like 15 or 20 people already and somebody decides to leave. So then in that case, you pretty much know who is the successor if there is a one inside the company. And then there was then how to reward fairly in the first years of career. So like this is pretty much about the younger ones, the younger junior people that may become like may end up to some sort of like a salary pit, palkkakuoppa, what we say in Finnish. So and are kind of like a fast trackers. And then how do you manage those situations where there is somebody who's developing and maybe even passing a person that has been there much longer? And then also like how to understand the development, like how to integrate career development discussions in the long run, and how to help people to succeed in the team. So this may sound kind of like quite technical and HR mumbo jumbo, but people want to hear how they are doing and what is expected. So some sort of career development discussion, or like monitoring everybody's how they are doing. So it is very important from early on. There are many different ways of doing that. Then employee point of view, so the team members. Especially in the early times. I once went to a company where everybody like there were like 3 titles in the whole company, and they were like 35 people already, and everybody like three titles, and people were just like given the title and the salary, and then no job description, nothing, and they were everybody like asking like, okay, what's my future? What should I do? What is there any future in this company? Then in another case there came that, am I rewarded correctly? This comes when there are new people joining. There may be a merger. There comes all kinds of suspicions that, okay, this other company people, they always earn more. But there are ways of managing these type of questions, and this is what people are thinking about, really. And to continue, there comes all these moanings that I've been here longer than anyone. That's why I should get a salary raise. How do you approach these type of questions? How do you explain to someone who hasn't, for example, performed or is too lazy to do the job to get, for example, to this other career track that the person is wishing for? And this has to do like with the promotions and money and all that type of things. But and then there are some people that kind of like they want to do the extra mile to get further in their career, and also managers' task is to help them. And this model has been helping many supervisors to explain what you need to do in order to get to the next level, and it's quite objective way of looking at this. Then there are some tools of skills and competence development. How do you get started? Usually there is somebody that helps you out to get started, but I will show you some useful tools, and I'm not going to go through this one, but it is good to have some systematic skill approach through some existing tools, and my own model is based on Willis Tower Watson model. And what does it help to get educated about skills development? So I mentioned already that when you need to justify or explain to somebody why they, for example, do not get the raise, or why they do not get the promotion. So there are certain vocabulary that you can use. Then also there are these people that may be ideal for even to change jobs. In gaming, very often it has been that there has been advancement, for example, from testing to design, and from till I just saw yesterday, was it like one of my old colleagues that had become as a head of studio, and he started as a basic game tester, went to design, then went to producing, and then went to studio head. Quite impressive. Then also it is good to understand about job rotation. So for example, when somebody leaves, it is not just that you hire another one exactly the same with exactly the same skills to the position, but you have always a chance to think that, is there a chance to redesign this job in a way that somebody else who has been, for example, a little bit lower ladder but is ready to take the responsibility can move to this position, and then you look for another type of profile instead outside of the company. And these are, of course, like very satisfying moments to people that get a new duty, for example, or like new step up to a new level of responsibility. And then that may decrease the turnover in a long run when people feel like that there are justified decisions made and they are heard, and then they have chances to go further. So you can plan better anything: training, recruiting, rewarding, promoting, your strategy, just name it. And then, of course, motivated teams beat the records and make the results. So skills development helps in all these. There are 3 skill groups. So you can divide skill groups into 3: professional and process skills. So if you are, for example, a producer or you are a programmer, so you have your technical skills, then professional and process skills that comes of the learning how to do things and how to become a credible professional that requires seniority. And then there may be these company valued skills, and this comes usually to culture. And in every discipline or in every type of company, there may be, depending on what kind of products they do, they have some details in their skills that nobody else necessarily doesn't have. And now we get to the skill level. This is the first general view. I have 2 of these slides, but I will walk these through quite quickly. And this usually starts that you have a bunch of people. It can be anything from maybe even like 5, but basically as soon as you have a manager, a founder, team leader, couple of people working there. There can also people coming from outside, very skilled consultant, for example, but usually those are not rated. But everything starts from the skill level 1. So this is the so-called entry level. This is a graduate or equivalent, kind of like contributory role. Somebody who is so freshman that needs instruction, guidance and direction. Then skill level 2, that is the associate level. Already someone who has been around for like year or 2, understands all basic concepts and methods and can use them with the help of a coach or a supervisor, so needs some help. Then skill level 3 is the career level already. So when people understand advanced concepts and methods and can use them without any outside help, provides guidance and support to others, requires occasional guidance. Now you can think, for example, of yourself and your own progress for example, in your previous works, where you have been an entry, kind of intern, for example. What happened when you ended up to associate or developing level, so you can already do things. And then when you became someone that doesn't necessarily need any guidance anymore, but can apply your skills and methods quite independently. I always say that people that are in any business, and especially in gaming, should aim to this level 4, this advanced career level. And this is a level where you are fully competent in your own area. You are a key contributor in more complex and critical environments. and this is already kind of a level where you are the company level, company-wide kind of expert of some sort. And this is always the level where you are valuable and where your career may stabilize for many years to come. So if you are looking at the difference towards the career level 3 or skill level 3, so if you need to decide that who stays and who goes in a critical situation, if you, for example, need to cut workforce. So in some cases it is the most expensive ones that go, but many often they are the people that can't contribute enough. So I think that there is a little bit more security on the advanced career level. Then skill level 5 is a knowledge sharer and mentor. I could say that this is someone who goes to the conferences and gives presentations, for example, in the countrywide level. You go to Finland gaming seminars or similar, you talk there, and people are interested in what you are talking about. And this is already quite a high level person that can be kind of like, if this person would be on the managerial track, so it could be maybe a CIO, but very like valuable contributor to the company. And skill level 6, that's a kind of like innovator and visionary, where you already write books. And most of the Finnish companies or companies that I've seen, they don't even have money to hire these people. So these are these world-class experts that have done a long career. They are heard. They can contribute, and they write books. So, but nothing more about that level. But of course, if you have ambition, so maybe someday you will be the one whose flights are paid and white papers are accepted to international conferences and so forth. But then there was this star in the middle of P3 and P4, and this is usually the career momentum when people start to think that should I continue as a specialist, or should I become a team leader or manager? And here it is good to have this discussion or think whether I should evolve my career towards team leadership. And you can also, like as a founder or CEO, start to kind of help those people that might be able to move towards more demanding these team management roles. And here from it goes so that like the skill level M1 is the team leader, and this is the first steps towards bigger management roles, kind of like an associate level. Then there is a supervisory manager who does all the coordination and supervises daily activities of staff, even like does recruitments and all this admin stuff. May still be quite experienced in all area in own skill in own skills, but very often these people, they start to lose the grip to the kind of like technical skills. And it is always matter of accepting that you are not necessarily the best programmer anymore, but you are more focused on how to manage. And in gaming, this means that you become a producer or you become a CIO or something similar, or in the level M3 or level M4, you are already like head of product or head of something. And then CEO is not categorized, so there is no categorization for CEO basically. But this is how the scheme goes. And when you talk about, when you discuss with people and how you understand, try to understand what you've got. So this is a very simple method of trying to understand where anyone in your organization, no matter what discipline there is behind, whether it's like tester or producer or programmer or live ops specialist or marketer, you do not need to know necessarily about the you can basically compare everybody's level based on this scheme. And then later on you can basically create a competence chart for each discipline. This is a little bit more like technical and comes to picture when there are much bigger team of people in question. And I've been in a situation where I ended up to a company as a employee number 35, and we were within a couple of years we had been acquired, and we were soon 80, and then we were 100, and then finally we were 168. And we already needed this type of scheme to understand and to map and to guide a bigger team, and also like to keep the budgets in order, and also help the people. But then everything was kind of like managed with the help of the team leads and with the managers that understood, that had the tools to understand what their teams were made of. And also when all these career discussions and monthly discussions and such went on, so we basically calmed down the situation that everybody knew that, for example, you can get a raise once a year based on some percentages and based on how much company had a budget for it. Of course, there are some työehtosopimus, for example, that may dictate how much you need to increase the salaries in a year, or when you have been doing really well. So then you may have extra percentage to reward people. But then how to manage, for example, the rewarding. And people knew that like it is like once a year when budgets are done, or when the general increases are given, so you may get a certain amount. And then the other way that you had like very good progress in your own career. They may have been like even new promotion or similar, and then that might have justify also for the salary increase. But this example is from a larger company and organization that grew like crazy during the first years. I'm not sure if it happens, but I know that there are a few quite large organizations in Finnish gaming that need to have a good grip of the organization and what is happening there. And so and when I do this, when I've been doing this work or skill management work with team managers, very often there is a CEO that has been giving me a call and said that okay, we need to understand what our organization is made of. And we've done, I've been going through each individual with their manager and mapping the people to skill levels. And then we have been thinking of each individual, like what they can do and so forth. And then the organization starts to look like this. Now, of course, this looks very kind of technocratic, of course, but always there is somebody on top of the of the team, and then there are the team leads, for example, that have responsibility of running certain disciplines. But this basically shows that in every team there are people that are on different levels of competence. For example, in the team leader Y, they're in the middle, who is C3 plus, so already quite like going forward to C4 level, and can do things very independently, can lead a team, give his or hers opinions, can run a team. So this person has one trainee, the C1, that is there in the middle. Then there is a couple of C2s and then C3. And this plus and minus there is kind of like that somebody is progressing soon to level C4, C3, for example, or C4. And minus means that the person has stepped up from, for example, from level C2 plus to C3 minus. And this minus, without minus, and plus, that may mean also that when you progress, there is also a salary scheme that is mapped against each skill category and competence category. And then later on, when we had to kind of create a studio titles chart, so we simply designed all the levels that there is, starting from trainees up till technical director, for example. And there are 6 ladders here, and the 7th ladder would be the CEO, because all these technical director, any director, they would report to the CEO. And this is very common skill level scheme, that there are always these 6 levels. I've seen in testing it is only 4 levels. So there may be a technical or test manager, but then that may be already like the senior or lead. So that has been like the only one that has a little bit less ladders. I would imagine that that could be the same thing, for example, in IT administration, unless it's a very, very large organization, and in some other profiles. But this has been kind of like a very usual landscape in gaming. And this is the end of part 1, theory. And then I have a couple of examples. I've been speaking too long, but anyway, how to apply this. So there was a company that had 14 people, and the situation was such that they had made a very good game, and their team was sold to a foreign entity, to a foreign company. And there was, of course, from the acquiring company part, a bit of worry that people were about to leave. So how to keep them on board long enough, and how to make sure that they are not unpaid compared to the acquiring company, and also against the Finnish regular salaries. And we just went through everybody with the CEO, mapped to the general understanding, or like some local Finnish salary levels, and then got the chart, and then he was able to report to this foreign entity that things seemed to be okay in Finland. There were some adjustments that had to be made. Then there was this is quite recent, there is a team of 78 people, and their there was a feeling from the CEO and CEO part that there is a management balance in a hybrid organization working on 3 continents. And they wanted to take a stronger grip over the organization in a very critical growth phase. And we went through all teams and their performance. Of course, all kinds of things came up. I'm not going to talk about them at this point, but they were able to get a better view what is going on and which ones are performing and which ones are not probably performing. And then I've been talking about this 120 plus, how to manage the local entity as part of the larger international entity. So this was my previous example was very much based on that. And I'm going to stop here. I have a small star there because this implementing of this scheme basically requires people, team, and then also talking about the people, talking about their current situation, also maybe ambitious, and then a little bit more research